Hey everyone, this is Rico Figliolini, host of UrbanEBB here based in Peachtree Corners, Georgia. Appreciate you joining us. We're a little smart city just north of Atlanta. I have a great guest here, Gabrielle Mills. She's the founder and CEO of Sourced. Hey Gabrielle, thanks for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being here. We're going to learn a lot from you, I'm sure, this morning. And this is one of those freezing mornings here in Georgia that really never happens, like down to 20.
It is so cold. I'm very cranky about it.
Yes, it's amazing. But it'll warm up in a week.
Yeah.
Um, but before we get to our interview, I just want to say thank you to two sponsors we have that have been with us. Appreciate the support of our journalism, these podcasts, of the magazines as well. One of them is EV Remodeling Inc. They're a company that has done work from design to build and whole house renovation, as well as just redoing your kitchen, your bathrooms, and such. They've worked with over 260 families. They're based in Peachtree Corners. Eli, the owner of the company, is a really great guy. I think you should check out their website. You could do a virtual consultation with him as well and check out their portfolio. So go to evremodelinginc.com and find out a little bit more about them. Also, our second sponsor is Vox Populi, also based here in Peachtree Corners. They're a company that takes your brand and brings it to life, essentially. They're a family business, father, son, all the family members in there, another daughter in there handling marketing, and even members of their employees are considered part of the family. It's just a great, well-run company. We just did a podcast with them recently. You should check that out. But they tried to bring your brand awareness out there. They could do anything from truck wraps to print on any object. Just come to them, give them a challenge, and they will actually step up to that challenge. You might think they can't print on it, but God knows they'll find a way to do what you need to bring to that trade show and to make your business stand out as a retail operation or whatever. So check them out, voxpopuli.com, and it's VOX hyphen POP hyphen ULI.com. So now that we've gotten our sponsorships out of the way, Gabrielle, appreciate you staying with me like that. Um, so you're tell us a little bit about how you started the business, why you chose the word sourced, and what the business is.
Um, Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I can't tell you the answer to that question without acknowledging my business partner, Chrissy Strohmeyer, who is also my mother. We are a mom and daughter team. We have just enjoyed the heck out of building this company together, but really my stories are her stories and vice versa.
Mhm.
We started the business because we wanted to be entrepreneurs, and we wanted to help other businesses grow and be successful. We think entrepreneurs are the salt of the earth people. They're the reason for our economy. They create jobs. They've got so many great ideas, and they are the last people that get a helping hand because they don't always have enough cash, right?
Yeah, right.
That's why we started Sourced. We actually went to business owners and asked them, because we didn't have this idea. We asked business owners what they need, where they were underserved, and how, if they were to do it all over again, kind of what they would do. And we put all of their answers up on a whiteboard that's currently in our office. In fact, you saw it when you came over to our office the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
If that whiteboard could talk, man. Um, and we looked at all of their problems, all of their suggestions, all of the things they were struggling with, and our services came out of that. So Sourced is a back office services company, serving small to mid-market companies. And the easiest way to describe what it is that we do is we basically have 5 businesses under one brand name. So on the fractional side of our business, we are a full accounting firm, full service accounting firm, a full service marketing agency, outsourced HR, administrative support, and then not fractionally, we do direct hire full-time placement. So all of those ideas came from entrepreneurs that we spoke to that they needed help, and we said, we'll do it.
It's amazing, all under one roof.
All
Um,
under the roof, because we didn't mean exactly to create 5 businesses at the same time. That was more of God's plan, but
yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. No, no, I can appreciate that. I've come across a lot of people in different businesses doing different things. So you do look at where your services can expand into. So, it makes sense for where you guys are coming from.
So you asked me where the name comes from,
Yeah.
and I don't get that question a lot, and it's actually a really funny story. So when I was working my big girl corporate job at IHG, Intercontinental Hotels Group,
Right.
I had a relative that worked in the company, and she was the only person that knew that I was thinking about leaving and starting my own thing. So I floated the concept to her, and
Mhm.
she loved the concept. At this time, we didn't have talent acquisition. We only had our fractional client or fractional services.
Mhm.
And our name was the Atlanta Assistance Group. And we were going to go by TAG, TAAG. And it was in branding for IHG. And she goes, I have to tell you, that name isn't scalable. It's easily forgettable. And you also have TAG, the Technology Association.
That's right. Yeah.
And she's like, I really think that you need to rethink your name. This was 7 days before I was going to quit my job and do this, like, and tell them I was going out, in which case they would want to know what the company is, what our name is, all the things. And so the next 7 days, Chrissy and I were just on fire trying to think of everything. The amount of hours we spent digging through the thesaurus was.
Hmm.
And one day I was driving and I was playing around with the word outsourced, resource. I was trying to come up with a play on words there, and source just came about. And I called her and I was like, what do you think of this? And she's like, I love it. And I think we came up with it 2 days before I quit.
Wow. Wow. And I love the website name though, getsource.com. I mean, it just like makes sense to be able to do that. Um, So, you've been dealing with a lot of businesses, helping them and stuff. Sourcing is an issue sometimes, especially if you're doing financial fractional work like that. And small business owners, maybe the larger ones like 10 million plus, different, or even let's say 5 million plus, different, right? And I'm not sure what your sweet spot is, but the trust process to get a business to trust you to do their work because they're sourcing it out to you. You're not in the office. How do you do that? How do you gain traction with that? How do you gain their confidence to be able to provide the services that will make their business better?
I think there's a lot of ways that we do that naturally.
Mhm.
First and most importantly, we have an amazing, amazing team of people, and they really do the selling for us. Most of our business comes from word of mouth and referral because the people that work with us have such a great experience with our team and our people that that trust is kind of transferred already over because
Okay.
that the referrers had a great experience. That helps. Chrissy and I are involved in every single sale at this point before we pass it off to our team. We obviously have been through the entrepreneurial journey. We're in our ninth year. We've done all the bumps and bruises, made all the mistakes. We've seen a lot of other people's mistakes. So we can kind of provide a lot of guidance during the sales process so I think that builds trust.
Sure.
And not to be understated, the processes and the standards that we've built over time, we know how to fall back to the level of our training, regardless of the situation at hand. So we really lean into that when we're talking to clients or prospects because they want to know how things are going to go. You can have a really good person who's really friendly, but they may not know what they're doing.
Right.
That's where the processes and our training comes in. We don't have to do a lot of training because our people are already very experienced, but the way that we do things,
Hmm.
we want that to be standardized. So we train on how the sourced way is. So
Okay.
the client is experiencing something consistent.
So when you're training, obviously, that's an internal thing that you're doing. There's always industry trends, right? I mean, taxes is one thing where there's always an update every year, different things going on. God knows, probably this year will be a lot of things going on, accounting and stuff. But how do you keep ahead of some of the trends then, or adapting to the needs of the entrepreneurs that you're reaching out to? Because I'm sure that changes and evolves too.
It does. I mean, you keep up with current events. We listen to our clients. Our clients know a lot. Our clients are very, very smart, and we're industry agnostic, so we get the benefit of seeing lots of different things from lots of different people and lots of different industries. So we just kind of like by osmosis learn things.
Mhm.
But I think any good leader, regardless of if you own the business or you're just working in the business or you have some kind of you're a stakeholder somewhere, I think anybody that is worth their salt is kind of always keeping up with what's going on and how does the business need to adapt and how does my apartment department need to adapt and how do we grow and how do we improve? And I think just by having a regular practice like that, where you're always kind of investigating it and looking at ways of improving,
Mhm.
it's more natural than it is forced to grow
Right.
and change. World changes.
Do you find going through the things you're going through that, I mean, obviously the day-to-day work is never ending, right? It's a process. Some days, some weeks would be the same as other weeks, but every once in a while you get a challenge. Um, you find something that you have to overcome within a business, maybe within your own business. Do you have any success stories that you can share that relates to that?
Yes, I'll tell you my favorite one. And it's one of the more recent ones too. So in our 9 years of business, we have seen a lot come through our doors. We always tell people, especially those coming in for accounting. Accounting and talent acquisition are our two most popular services. And we started in accounting. That's kind of our bread and butter. And people are always very vulnerable about like, oh, my books are bad. I had a bad accountant. I don't know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. We always tell them we're like doctors. We just want to give us the real, we'll fix it. Now, like accounting is not a human body. So like we can actually fix it because it's just numbers. But we've seen a lot of horror stories. You cannot scare us, you cannot surprise us. We've seen a lot in 9 years. Recently, I think this client came on board early last year. And it was a $12 million construction client. And they have been in business for like 20 years or something. And when we were working on, we got referred into this client and we went and we talked to them, and they were having an issue with their accountant that was internal. And they wanted to let that person go, but she knew way too much in the business. So they were like, we
Mm.
need somebody that can come, that can fix the craziness that's happening in the books. And you can imagine they're large books, $12 million company.
Yeah.
We need to create some kind of redundancy so we're not in a situation where we need to let somebody go and we can't, we're beholden to them. Um, and we just don't know anything about our books. We've never seen them.
Wow.
And the
Wow.
best part of that meeting was that Chrissy asked, or she was talking about the financials, the financial reports.
Mhm.
And the client stops her and he goes, wait, why do I need to look at my financial reports? And our jaws just dropped because this is a $12 million company that's been in business for like 20 years. They have done a phenomenal job building their company. They had no idea the importance of their numbers. They didn't know what their, like, how their money was transacting. I don't know how they were running it. And so that was a lot to overcome. It was probably one of our longer onboarding processes, but we got that client off of QuickBooks Desktop and onto QuickBooks Online so they could see their numbers,
Mhm.
right? Their books were done and I'm not blaming this person. There was that they ended up leaving. There was reasons why this was, but the books were entirely backwards. So where there were things that should have been a positive, they were showing a negative, and a negative should have been a positive. So all their numbers were backwards. And then nothing was set up properly. So we had to do a whole setup. We had to clean the whole thing. And we just had a meeting with them yesterday and just talking about our usual check-in, how things are going. We're constantly looking at improving this account. And they were just saying they have never felt more secure in an accounting firm. They said, regardless of how our team changes, you guys are our people. You've taught us, you've changed everything, you've done everything. And they were showering us with lovely things. And it just warmed our hearts so much because this was one heck of a undertaking.
Mm.
But I also give them a lot of credit too, because that one, it was not a cheap project. And two, that took a lot of trust in them
Oh
too, to
yeah.
be like, I don't know you guys, but
Mhm.
you have to fix all of these problems at once. And it was a lot of work that they had to do and we had to do. And so they put a lot into the relationship as well. And it was, they're probably one of my favorite clients now. And I will probably be my biggest success story for a while, just from the scale.
No, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I have a friend, Carl Barham, who owns Transworld Business. He consults, he buys and sells business for people. And it's constantly amazing how many, not just $500,000 companies, but $10 million companies, sometimes their books are so bad that they have to like step away and say, you know what, let's fix this up. You may have to wait a year before you can sell this business just because the books are so bad.
It,
Just like there's
that's
not.
so
Yeah,
typical. We don't like to see it. Obviously, it breaks our hearts, and we can fix it. We have the
yeah,
we can fix anything at this point.
yeah.
But it's unfortunate because they didn't get bad because of that person. They got bad because that person didn't have the support that they needed. Likely that the entrepreneur was not an accountant. They shouldn't be. They should be building their business, doing whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Accounting's important, but this is why we went into business, is like, you need to go do your dream.
Hmm.
We've got the stuff that, yes, you need to keep up with, but like, you don't need to know how to do it. Like, we can show you, but you don't need to know how to do this. You just need to know what your numbers look like.
Yeah, I'm surprised that when their accountant did their work at the end of the year, I can't imagine so it was the same person doing it. It had to be someone else doing it. And no one figured it out.
Well, so with this particular client, there was a couple migrations in systems
Yeah,
that caused that reversal. So they started on one
okay,
system and then moved to QuickBooks Desktop, which reversed everything. And then the person that was working in the office,
right.
she was doing a lot of things right. But there's a lot of different ways to do accounting right, quote unquote. But she continued the backwardness because that's how it had to be done. It was very complicated.
And I'm sure, and sometimes you're down a path and you don't want to leave that path. You just keep going and just figure it'll work itself out at some point.
And it's
Um,
that happens in accounting, of like, we just start fresh. Like right now we're getting a lot of clients that need cleanups, and we only have to go back a month and a half because it's the 21st today. When we're in July, we're like, okay, how far back do you want to go? Or not July, but more like October. They're like, we can clean up from January, or we can just hold off and start fresh in the next January. It kind of depends.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's a tough decision. You said before you're agnostic business-wise a little bit. But are there types of businesses that may benefit most from what you all do, or that you target, or that you prefer working with, or you have strength in those industries?
We have developed patterns of clients that tend to come to us. So on the accounting side, we do a lot of construction. That's the example that I gave. Um, we have a couple of YouTube clients, which is kind of neat. We do a lot of work in for attorneys. Law accounting for law is very specialized, so we do that. On the marketing side, they're completely across the board. There is no consistency whatsoever. Same with administrative support.
Mhm.
HR gets thrown into any monthly recurring service that we have. So again, there's no consistency.
Right.
On the talent acquisition side, we have quite a bit of consistency, although there's randomness throughout. Um, we do a lot in, we still do a lot in law. We get a lot of financial roles. So we do anything from accountants, tax managers, tax seniors. We do a lot in IT, particularly in the cybersecurity market.
Okay.
Um, a lot in finance, some in construction, not really all that much. Did I say finance?
Yes. Mhm.
Property management in talent acquisition. Yeah, those are about the consistent ones in talent acquisition. But again, like we kind of see it all. At this point in our business,
Mhm.
it we actually get really excited when we see a business or an industry that we've never worked in before. So for marketing, I was just pitching a client yesterday who's opening a shooting sports facility and gun range. I have never done that before.
What?
And I was like, oh, this is different. This is
Yeah.
unique. We've got research. Same with like anything in our talent acquisition department. If it's different, we're like, okay, this is exciting. Because usually, I mean, we just see a lot of businesses come through here.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, especially when you see a lot of different businesses like that. Um, the we talked about success stories. As a business person, I think any business person, if they're honest with themselves, will say, yes, we make mistakes every once in a while, right? New situations arise that they've never seen before, and it's a problem that they have to overcome. Have there been any mistakes in your business journey, or that you've seen in other businesses besides obviously the accounting issue, but anything that you've overcome as an entrepreneur, as a business person?
No, Rico, we're absolutely perfect. We've never made a mistake.
I could see that.
Oh
Good.
gosh, no. Okay,
Tell me.
so I tell people ask me about our journey a lot. They're just curious about our story and how we came to be, and we love telling it. I always tell people, Chrissy and I didn't have experience in any of these things before we started. We just had a dream and wanted to be help businesses and build a business ourselves. All of this we have learned from the ground up, having no experience, with the exception of like general business acumen and general sales acumen. But like, we're not accountants, we're not recruiters. I did start in marketing, but like not tactically. So I always say that I went to the School of Hard Knocks, got a couple of degrees from there, and that's how I got to where I'm at, because we've made every mistake in the book. We've had clients that have trusted us and loved us through some mistakes that we've made to get us to where we are. I would say the biggest piece of advice or mistake that I made that I learned from was Chrissy came into the business from day one, and she was telling me and our director of account management, Maureen, she was like, we got to focus on our processes. We got to focus on our processes. Maureen and I were focused on the people and just serving the people.
Right.
And in year 3, which was our hardest year yet, we got so many different challenges and scenarios that were really, really difficult. And what Chrissy was telling us from day one finally got through to Maureen and I, of like, oh, this is why we need processes and standards. This makes sense now. So it took a lot of heartache to really
Yeah.
understand why those are important. But now it has been the secret sauce to our business, because we know how to hire off of them. So if people aren't already operating or have experience you like with that certain frame of mind, we know that they're likely not a fit, or they have to be at least willing to be coached into that direction. We've developed consistency because our processes are standard. We're always making our processes better. We're always like looking to make them beefier. We
Sure.
never would have gotten there if we didn't learn that lesson.
Okay. And sometimes you do. I mean, you have to learn your lesson. It's like bringing up kids. They want to do their own mistakes. They don't want to be told to watch out for that step, and they'll do their own mistakes. So
He
it's
was a
fine.
broken record there for a few years, and then if the light bulb finally went off, and Maureen and I were like, oh, okay. It took us some tears to learn it, but we got there. Now we're on.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Um, so you're a local business, obviously, coming out to meet with you and your mom and the rest of the team was nice to take a tour, and find out what you're doing there. Um, you do give back. I know you're good people, giving back to the community. Um, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the local charities that you've given back to?
So early in our business, we decided that we're not in business. We're in business for the joy of being in business. We're not in business to make a gazillion dollars and cash out. While that would be lovely, we would totally not turn our noses up at that.
Yeah.
We wanted to at least serve our clients and then serve people that never really came into contact with Sourced, and use the business as an opportunity to give back,
Mhm.
because we believe that if we're successful, we have been giving blessings, and so we should be giving blessings out. So we committed from day one that we were going to donate 10% of our monthly profits to charity. And those charities would be selected by our team of people. So every year, in December, we put out a survey to our team, and our team can nominate a charity that is important to them. And we decide in January who up to 3 charities that we're going to give to that year. And every quarter, we look at each month that we've made profit, take that pool of money, divide it out equally across however many charities we have that year, and give them out. Um, we have some of those have been large organizations, but our favorite ones are the ones that are smaller and local.
Mhm.
Um, we started the first couple of years working with an organization called Connections Homes, which is out of Swanee. They help um, kids who are aging out of foster care, really with support to become adults, but also they're not really adults. They're 17, 18, 19, and they still don't know how to do the world.
Right.
Um, that's an organization that we've supported. We've supported an organization called Ignite Hope, which is another foster care association. We've done Neighborhood Cooperative Ministries, which is for those who are local, you guys know that it's a very large,
Yeah.
nominal nonprofit here in Norcross. And this year, we're partnering with an organization called Because One Matters, which ironically is another foster care um,
Really.
organization. I just realized that there seems to be a pattern.
Yeah.
So tend to give to the kids.
No, I like that. And I like that the fact that you're giving locally, and it's 10% of your profit each month is what you split up, which is great. It's almost like
And
tithing in a
by
way.
the quarter, yeah, and that's how it came about. We wanted to tithe using the business. We give once a quarter, based on the months, because what we didn't want to do is we would have one month go to one charity, and that was a particularly good month, but then the next month maybe wasn't that good of a month. So we wanted to balance it out. So we look
Sure.
at all the profits that come in from the quarter and then equally disperse it.
That is cool. Um, all right, we've gotten sort of to the end of our interview time, but I'm sure that there's things that we could talk a lot more about. Is there anything that I've left out? Anything you'd like to share? Maybe services that you may be looking at expanding into the coming year or anything along those lines?
So we're likely not expanding into other services because we have 5 already, and
Wow.
that's enough. Um, we are finding that there's a lot of growth to be had in our talent acquisition department.
Mhm.
So we're eager to see what that ends up looking like through the year. What we really want to focus on in terms of like diversification or innovation, which I think is really where your question comes from, is how we utilize technology to make our services more streamlined and more advanced. We will never not have the support of our people. We are a people business. We will go under before computers take over our jobs. However, there's a lot of really great technology that if you use it right and smartly, we can make profit margins better, save our clients money, be able to reach more people. So we're going to try to figure out how we can lean into that a little bit.
So that's a great path to go down for a quick minute, maybe. Because AI technology is something that every business is tackling and using in a variety of ways, right? ChatGPT, Grok 3, there's a bunch of them. Claude, I mean, there's a whole bunch. DeepSeek, I mean, you could go on and on with these things. Um, and every business, every industry is trying to figure out how they can use that, right? Um, and some use it badly and others use it better. Sometimes it's used for support or for research versus, you know, making decisions. So are you finding that you have to also look at that to augment, to do add a complexity to the service you provide?
Um, so what stands out in your question to me is the have to. I think that nobody really has to, but I'm in an industry that if I don't look at it,
Right.
my industry will die because it is based on people. And if you don't lean into the technology, you run the risk of the world thinking they don't need people anymore, and then you're obsolete. So we don't have to do anything, but if we want to stay in business, we should be looking at how to utilize it better. The
Yeah.
beauty of our business is these are things that people are always going to need, and computers can't replace entirely. You always need a person overseeing or creating or some version of managing what the computer does. So we always have a people element to it.
Mhm.
What we're looking at with technology is how do we make ourselves and our processes and how we do things
Right.
better and faster using technology, and use the human brain where the human brain needs to interject.
Yeah. Okay. Great explanation. Um, well, we've reached the end of our time together. Where can people find out more about your company? Of course, we'll have it in the show notes as well, but how can they reach out to you?
Yeah. So if you're local, just come and see us. We are on off of Scientific Drive in Technology Park, down by the Forum. If you want to check us out online, we are at getsourced.com. We're on all the socials under Sourced ATL. Or you can always just look at my name, Gabrielle Mills. Unfortunately, very easy to find out on the web.
I'm sure. Check her out on LinkedIn. It'll be easy to find her
Yeah.
there. I want to say thank you again to EV Remodeling and to Vox Populi for supporting us. Everyone else, you have comments, leave them in the comment section below, depending where you're watching this, whether it's Facebook, YouTube. If you're listening to this on Apple or any of the audio podcast places, Spotify, leave a review, like, share. We'd love if you would support us that way. Gabrielle, thank you for being with us. Appreciate it.